Good morning. Happy Monday. Trying to convince myself. Mediocre morning wrap for the 6th of December, 2021. Going to opine on some football today. We're going to go semi-pro and then we're going to go pro. Oh, semi-pro is that most people call that college football. We're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to revisit Wednesday's video with the Notre Dame and Oklahoma situations, and how all that is turning out. And then we're going to go into the professional ranks, and we're going to talk about some observations from Sunday's games. Some of Sunday's games. So let's add it. Notre Dame has promoted Marcus Freeman. Now, not one of the guys I would have picked. However, I thought Pat Fitzgerald would have been a good fit. He should have at least been interviewed. Brian Kelly was there for 12 years, and apparently he was grooming Marcus Freeman. Very popular with the athletes, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. It could very well be that he represents less discipline than Kelly, which could be really bad, that they like him for that. Or what I actually think it is they love him because they really think he's the dude and he brings the right energy. Because these guys, these football players at Notre Dame are a little bit different. They don't get Ebonics waivers. Okay? So I tend to think they're going to make better judgment than, let's say, their athletic director, Swarbrick, for example. The problem I have with Swarbrick is he came out in his press conference and he says, we have no preconceived notions. We're going to do a wide search. I'm not even going to go into what the deliverables need to be. Okay, that's fine. Here's the problem, Swarbrick, is that was the time to say that you were going to hire Freeman because you were going to just promote from within. So your messaging is dumb as F. Okay? And in an institution like Notre Dame, maybe, just maybe, you should button stuff up before you get in front of a microphone. And maybe you should have an idea of what you're doing. Okay? My belief is that a legacy job like Notre Dame is going to be one that you have to, you need the best people. Like, you need to be able to do a national search and literally be the job nobody can say no to. Now they just don't even do a search. And he's a rookie. He's never run a program. Now he's going to run a program with boosters in all 50 states. He's going to be like, I hope he can do the CEO thing as well as he needs to. I wish him luck. I think he'll actually be. I love his energy, and there's a lot of things I've heard that are good. So I'm hoping he does well for Notre Dame. They probably do need to get into a conference, but they probably won't. And if they expand this college football playoff to 8 teams, then Notre Dame really won't need to. But they'll need to stop being overranked and overhyped. They're going to actually have to be better than their better than the hype that they're given, because they're really over. They're out over their skis every single year. They're never as good as advertised. Okay, but at least Brian Kelly brought him back to prominence. Different story in Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner, man. Brent Venables was my number 2 pick. Cristobal was my first one. Venables is a very good one. Defensive coordinator from Clemson. Clemson will rise again, by the way. They had a tough year. Every program does. But Brent Venables is wildly popular pick in Oklahoma. He's going to bring some defense and probably some team speed aspect that they're going to absolutely need to have a puncher's chance in the SEC. So I love the hire. Now, I mentioned Cristobal from Oregon. Miami is making a huge run at this dude. Smart. The guy can recruit. Hispanic. Fits the community well. This could be a huge get for the Miami Hurricanes as they try to come back to prominence as well. Cristobal runs a really good ship. And what he sees in Oregon is things kind of plateauing. And, what Nike basically gives Oregon is the chance to wear really ugly uniforms. They get free uniforms, all this stuff, and they've got boosters. But they don't have the resources. They don't have the national reach in Oregon that they would in some other schools. Miami, it's going to get them back on the map. And especially if Clemson's in a 2 to 3 year window where maybe they're not nearly as dominant. We got a year where Wake Forest was in the ACC championship game. Miami's got a short track to get back into relevance. Cristobal is in serious negotiations at this hour. He was over the weekend, and I think he will get the job in Miami, and that will be an excellent hire. Anybody that would have gotten Cristobal would have gotten an absolutely great recruiter and a good football man. And now we go from the semi-pro to the professional ranks. So we go to the NFL. Baltimore Ravens, they've got some serious problems in the quarterback position. And I actually was a late convert to Lamar Jackson. I think he's a great athlete. Something is wrong with his throwing. He's very inaccurate. He throws a fluttering football. And I still don't think he reads well enough to be an elite quarterback. He's better than I ever expected. So he's proved me wrong in the past. But he's showing regression this year, and it's worrisome. The biggest problem that he's having, and they have a quarterbacks coach, so somebody should have caught this. So either they've caught it and he's not taking the coaching, or they're not seeing it. In the quarterback position, what they teach the youngins these days, and why there's so many really good, strong-armed, accurate quarterbacks coming out of high school into college, and college up into the pros, think like Herbert, for example, is they widen the base. What happens is on a lot of throws, because Jackson's too busy running around and playing street ball, that he's standing too tall with a narrow base. His legs are narrow. That tends to put the ball high. Okay? And without as much velocity as you can get on it. Okay? You take something off it, it goes up. That's a problem, obviously. They need to train him, if he's going to be on the run, how to take that extra half a second, widen the base, square up, stop trying to beat Patrick Mahomes, and because Patrick Mahomes is having problems with it too. Now because he's trying to throw on the run and everything else. And it's nice when you can do it. You get on SportsCenter. But when you do it badly, they're picks. He needs to widen that base before he goes and makes the throw. Just take that extra half a second and widen the base. And I think that you square up, you widen the base, you make the throw. If you're making your reads right, you're looking off your safeties, you're doing all the things you need to do to have the deception, you should be able to widen the base well enough. Now, if that makes you a shorter quarterback, then you have to address that in how you have the throwing lanes arranged. And that gets into your blocking schemes and things of that nature. So something they need to work on. If he's a 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" quarterback, you don't have to worry about that. But when you're below, like 6'4" and below, you may need to arrange wider throwing lanes if you're going to sit down just a little bit more by spreading the base. But what you will get out of that is velocity, accuracy, and a passing game that can actually pass the muster when you're trying to win the AFC. So there you go. Big ding on the Ravens though last night was they are on the road. Okay? They're 8-3. They're up near the top, Highly competitive for the first round bye. Home field advantage. They got a team like Cincinnati on their tail. Cincinnati lost early in the day, thank goodness for them, to go to 7-5. They could have put another game between. So they're down 20-13. They score a late touchdown in the final minute. So they got like 20 seconds left. They go for 2 on the road with a quarterback who's had all kinds of accuracy problems the whole night. They're now 8-4 because they failed. Anybody would tell you, you kick the field goal. I mean, you kick the extra point and go to overtime. It's not that difficult. Trust your defense. Trust your offense, for that matter, that they're going to win in overtime. Don't take a chance like that. That's a chance you take when you're the Lions, when you haven't won a game yet, right? But you're 8-3. You could go 9-3, and you could be up. You could have the number 1 seed in the AFC with 4 games to play. Excuse me, 5 games to play. But they didn't do that. They went for 2. Boneheaded play. I love John Harbaugh, and I love the testosterone thing going on there. Not the time, my dude. You want to go picking fights with 300-pound linemen when you're not even wearing pads? I get you. You're a little crazy. I get it. That's cool. You don't lose game doing that. You let the testosterone rule you a little bit last night, and you made a huge mistake. And it could cost you home field advantage. And if the Bengals would have won yesterday, you'd be tied for the division lead. Now you're talking about not even being 1, 2, or 3. You could be down in the 5, 6, and 7. And if you end up with a number 1 seed or number 2 or number 3 seed you got to go up against that's in a really cold weather environment or has a really good home field advantage, you could be going home early. All because you went for 2. Think. One tangent down, next one to come. The Raiders. Painful. They're my guys. I'm a Mayock fan. I was a Chucky fan. He let me down. He did a lot of bad things, and the league made an example of him. Thou shalt not criticize Goodell and survive. We get it. There's a reason they don't release all the emails, because probably everybody's done the same stuff, but we got to go get Chucky. Got it. But he did bad things. He deserved to go. They've been through a lot. They had the Chucky stuff. They had Henry Ruggs. I hope the person's family that Ruggs fatally killed in that car crash are doing better by now. I mean, they'll never recover from such a tragic loss. What it did to the Raiders, though, is it left them without a playmaker that can stretch the field. So Mayock, being the best in his craft, went out and got Deshaun Jackson. So D-Jax, in games that they've won, they've seen that he can spread the field. And they use him that way, and then all the underneath stuff works. Right? Because you drag the safeties out to sea. They don't get to sit down in the zone. Okay? You just flood an area with possession receivers. The safeties get to sit down. Now you're going to have a harder time completing those throws or getting any yards after catch, which the Raiders really desperately need. And we're getting when they had a guy stretching the field. D-Jax was brought in for that reason. He is now not being used that way. He got one target for a 14-yard completion in yesterday's game. Stupid. The play calling, stupid. Now, I know he wasn't 100%. I heard that on the postgame. Don't care. Deshaun Jackson, if he can be on the field, he needs to stretch the field. Make him a decoy if he's not 100%. Zay Jones is not going to stretch the field. It's not going to happen. So you got to stretch the field and then the underneath stuff with some yak, yards after catch, is right there. And then you're going to eat up more time, and you're going to complete some of these drives and make them into touchdowns. Okay? Because you're going to get some big playability. Okay? When you don't, you make teams like the Redskins, yes, I said it, look like the 85 Bears. You just shouldn't. It's game calling. It's play calling. And I think if I'm Mayock, Olsen either is going to get an ultimatum today. I don't know that he is, but if I'm Mayock, he gets an ultimatum today. I see one more performance like this where you don't open the field, and I will fire you immediately after the game. And that's being nice. This is ridiculous. Now, there were also, the defense played very, very well, and just like normally, then they get late in the fourth quarter and they play prevent, and then they end up losing. Because prevent prevents you from winning. Prevent is dumb. Maybe I've covered this before. You have Max Crosby and Ngakoue. Yannick can go home. Max can go home. You can bring in zone blitzes. You can fake blitzes. You can load the box, back it out. Do all kinds of different looks. In other words, play the same damn defense that kept him to only one touchdown for 3.5 quarters. It was working. But with a little more than 2 minutes left, you didn't think they could chunk off 60 yards, 10 yards at a time? You can't be that stupid. So this is part. They came back and led. Even with the dysfunction in the offense, they were up 15-14. They should have won that game. They let them come right down and kick a field goal. And then it got even worse. Love Derek Carr. But that time management, that clock management was ridiculously bad. In any other game, he'd have gotten them to the 35-yard line. They would have kicked a field goal at the buzzer, at the gun. Guarantee it. But they gave up gobs of time. This just in. You get a completion in the middle of the field. You can clock the ball. You can spike the ball. You don't have to worry about it being second down. Now it's going to be third because you don't have four more plays. You have 2 or 3. And what you don't have is time. So what you got to do is go, okay, I need to get the ball 30 yards, not 10. I'm not worried about first downs. I'm worried about getting 20, 30, 40 yards in the next 25 to 30 seconds. So what I need to do is I'm going to clock the ball, get in the huddle, call 2 plays. I'm not going to sit there and burn 20 seconds trying to get a play off. Right? It's just bad. And even at that point, they're not stretching the field. Not even attempting to. Okay? See, I'm not thinking they're going to get over the top. I'm thinking they need the guy to run over the top so they can hit someone underneath that's in a stretched defense. World of difference. Because of course they're going to play a package where they overload the defensive backs and they sit back a little bit. But a little bit's not a lot. You get a guy over the top with some speed, they got to respect the speed. Now you're not throwing 5-yard passes or bubble screens. Now, when you need 40 or 50 yards in 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 35 seconds, or whatever it was, you can get down the field. You can get 15, 20-yard chunks. You do that in 3 plays, field goal at the gun. Again, clock management and then play calling. Ridiculously bad. And they probably blew the playoffs last night. Now they're 6-6, and they're going to need a lot of help. They're going to run the table, and they're going to need a lot of help. They play anywhere near this bad against the Chiefs next week, and you can start playing for next season. That'll be it. 6-7 after next week, game's over. Kiss that goodbye. Now it seems to me I'm rather curmudgeonly today. bad mood. But one thing that did warm the cockles of my heart, and I'm assured that there are cockles in there, is the Lions got their first win yesterday. Matt Campbell, he's a grunt of a coach. He's made some boneheaded decisions this year. He's probably cost them a couple of games, but they've been in 3 or 4 games they should have won. They should probably be 4-6, maybe 5-7. Okay, seriously. And it was just nice to see them on the final play of the game get in the end zone against the Vikings, win the game on a walk-off. He goes right, Goff goes right to his coach. Obviously, a very, very good relationship. They're probably going to get the number 1 pick next year. Now, the thing is, it's not the same old crew in Detroit. There are some competent people in their front office now, relatively anyway. And the scuttlebutt now is that there's probably not even going to be any quarterback in the draft that should go in first round. First time since 2013, according to what I was seeing. And I would concur, actually. I don't see any earth-shaking or earth-shattering either talents at the quarterback position in this particular draft. What I do think is you could either trade down and get a lot more depth, or with your number 1 pick, or you can get a playmaker, or you get a defensive back who's a playmaker. They're probably a little shy after Okudah flamed out, but I think that they would probably go with an offensive playmaker, try to score a few more points, maybe a good defensive end. I mean, not defensive, tight end. So there's a number of things they could do. You normally don't get a big defensive, like edge rusher or whatever, unless there's somebody really, really special. But they got a good chance to do something non-quarterback. Stick with Goff for a while, and I think everything will work out in that respect. So, end on that positive note. Love the Lions finally getting off the schneid. I mean, they had their tie earlier in the year, but seeing them win, seeing some truly spectacular celebration, see joy in Detroit after such a season of misery. It was heartwarming. So, and I had to have something positive to talk about here on the professional side. Sorry I missed you on Friday. Kind of thought I would. I should be back on Wednesday. We'll talk a little bit more. Probably talk about something completely different, quite frankly. Figure that out between now and then. Wednesday, I know, is going to be a busy day for me on the JOB, but I think I could sneak in here early in the morning and throw something down. So that to me. That to me is basically it. So until hump day, hope you have a great Monday. But before you go, you know what I'm going to say. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the ringy-dingy, say all, and then spread this video far and wide. More sharing is more caring, and I need all the caring that I can get. Consider maybe an advance in this Christmas season of spreading my pithy sports knowledge and analysis, driven in a mediocre fashion as it always is, that can just provide that it can fill that void in the lives of 5 of your friends or family that are deprived of such a thing. That's what that share button's for. Let's get some community here. The more people I can get involved in this flying circus, then I can start to do some things with the channel I would like to do. Maybe some interviews, things of that nature. But we'll see. We will see. Till Wednesday, you guys have a great Monday. See you on Hump Day. Peace out, me homies. See ya.